Hi there. With Clair Obscur Expedition 33 taking the world by storm, I thought I'd share my first impressions of its lofty soundtrack. This is a surprisingly massive and musically sprawling score by Lorient Testard and Alice Dupart-Percier. The official soundtrack is composed of an eye-watering 154 pieces of music, but from the 10 hours or so I've played of the game so far, it's clear that's only scratching the surface. But for today, I just want to talk about the very, very beginning of the soundtrack and the earliest moments of the game. I'm talking about the main menu and its accompanying track, Alicia. The game and score open on a delicate piano. It's moving between a couple broken chords as murmurs of tremolo strings softly accent the progression. The voice you're hearing belongs to Alice Dupart-Percier, one of the two composers I mentioned earlier, and who is also credited with co-composing the various vocal tracks. The behind-the-scenes video posted on the developer Sandfall Interactive's YouTube channel discusses how Lorient Testard would write many of its instrumental tracks and would then hand them over to Dupart-Percier, who would then write the vocal melodies. At least that's the anecdote given in the video. I imagine it could vary from one track to the next, but clearly we're dealing with a pretty collaborative process. Anyhow, the introduction of Dupart-Percier's voice changes the direction of the established track so far, going from what seemed quite tragic and a little maudlin, minor chords in a minor key, to somewhere still melancholic, but now filled with an ounce of hope and optimism. The chord progression from here on doesn't veer into the heroic, but it at least signals some sort of lingering beauty. Her operatic voice is accompanied by the full introduction of the strings, which sound especially lush and romantic, but we'll come back to those a little bit later on. More immediately striking are the incomprehensible words that Dupart-Percier is singing. I don't know yet if the words are completely nonsensical or not, but you can make out a few of the main characters' names in there, so I'm hoping it's got some sort of internal linguistic logic. In my still early point in the game, I've come across a few characters that speak in their own fictional language, and I wonder if that's what's being sung here. Since Expedition 33 is so clearly a love letter to the many great JRPGs that have come before it, it makes sense its music would follow suit. The dramatic use of a female voice singing in a fictional language makes for a natural comparison to the fantastic scores belonging to the Nier series. That's probably what they were going for, but another possible inspiration that precedes the Nier titles is the woefully underrated Ars Tonelico scores, which might have the most complex and rich use of a fictional language I've ever come across in a game. The Ars Tonelico scores, along with its follow-up Surge series, blend English, Japanese, and their various made-up languages to make for a narratively rich, cohesive, and consistent soundtrack. I've heard a similar blend of English and French in some later Expedition 33 tracks, and I'm hoping the decision made here as to which language to employ also has some deliberate narrative or thematic meaning. Anyhow, the piano, voice, and strings of Alicia build and build before fully blooming into a truly sumptuous chorus. The melody, hinted at in the pre-chorus, sounds fantastic here. blending melancholy, tragedy, and a hint of optimism, which doubles as an encapsulation of the game's theme, or at least its opening. This track is mysteriously titled Alicia, a character that 10 hours in I'm yet to meet. I only know it's called that because it's the first track on the official soundtrack. The game itself doesn't tell you this, nor hint at it at this early point, thus creating a sort of strange tension between what I know and what I hear. Were it not for the external soundtrack's names, I think I would have readily labeled this as the game's main theme. The way this central melody's phrasing begins from a plaintive, tragic position before guiding us to a more hopeful destination, it has all the hallmarks of a Nobuo Uematsu style main theme. A deep tragedy that resolves into a modicum of lingering optimism. If the Expedition 33 developers are wont to evoke Lost Odyssey, so will I. That game's main theme is dripping with sadness and melancholy, before eventually finding a faint light of hope. Or Uematsu's main theme to The Last Story. Which splits the difference between basking in melancholia without completely forgoing its triumphant convictions. Alicia similarly encapsulates those contrasting emotions all in a beautiful, highly memorable few minutes. Except, is it the main theme? All we know for now is that it's Alicia's theme, whoever exactly that is. Not that it being Alicia's theme precludes it from also being the main theme. See, of course, a short runner for Uematsu's greatest composition, Terra, from Final Fantasy VI. Terra's theme is the Final Fantasy VI theme in all but name, deftly evoking the tragedy and beauty of the character herself, just as much as it does the entire FF6 experience. Had that game's original soundtrack called her piece Main Theme of Final Fantasy VI instead of Terra, what would have changed, if anything, on how we approach that piece and that score as a whole? How would we talk about the Final Fantasy VII main theme if Uematsu had called it Cloud? That certainly would have changed my perspective on not just Cloud, but on all of Final Fantasy VII's soundtrack. Side note, please check out my ongoing series covering every piece of music in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. If you enjoy this, you'll like that. It just goes to show the power and influence that an external factor like liner notes or a track name can have on our interpretation of music and of a story. This is Alicia's theme. Whenever a character called Alicia shows up in Expedition 33, I am now primed with the knowledge that this character is likely of utmost importance to this world. I mean, I can already think of one unnamed, hugely important female character that is introduced almost immediately in-game that may or may not be Alicia. It certainly points to her at least, but I can't say for sure. The name here is just a clue Lorient Testar has left for us. It's up to us to do with it what we will. And they're not exactly hiding Alicia's importance. Sandfall Interactive released basically a promo music video for Alicia 2 months before the game even launched. I'm so glad this video exists, partially because it means I have some pretty beautiful B-roll I can show during this video of what would otherwise just be 10 minutes of looking at the main menu, but also because it shows us the many musicians who perform on this track. I mean, sure, they're probably miming and lip-syncing this video performance here, but it's a huge insight into who these folks are, especially the orchestra itself, who are usually just a list of names and nothing more. I'm extremely grateful to Sandfall Interactive for not only crediting them in detail, but giving them a face. The orchestral arranger and conductor is Daniel Sicard, who also functions as the artistic director of Orchestre Curieux, the orchestra featured throughout the Expedition 33 score. From this track alone, it is clear we are in for such a strong auditory treat. wow. Just beautifully arranged, beautifully mixed. This instrumental second verse is absolutely immaculate. The size of the orchestra varies from one track to the next, but in Alicia we can literally count them on screen. 2 violins, 1 viola, a double bass, and 2 cellos. Meaning that when I say something like, "What a beautiful cello solo," I can actually be way more specific and say, "What a beautiful cello solo," performed by Pauline Boudon, a young French cellist native of Lyon who regularly plays with various French and international orchestras. That's a level of specificity that is usually hard to find when it comes to most big video game soundtracks. But thanks to Sandfall's decision to showcase these musicians, we really can go this deep. In the nearly universal praise I have seen for Expedition 33, the music is one of, if not the top most thing people praise. So I think it's only right that these otherwise faceless musicians would be worth singling out and a cause for celebration. The wildly inaccurate claims I've frequently seen in both the press and various game forums that this game was made by around 30 people is a complete erasure of, among many roles, these musicians. And that would be wrong. The process of taking Testard and Dupas-Persier's beautiful composition, having Daniel Sicard adapt and arrange it for a live orchestra, and then having the orchestra itself perform it, each part is essential to the equation, and they're all worth celebrating. So where does that leave us? Well, whether this is Alicia's theme, the main theme, both, what matters most is that it functions as an extremely strong and evocative main menu track, and a wonderful introduction to the world of Expedition 33. From its delicate threading of tragic and optimistic moods, Alice Dupas-Persier's memorable melody lines bolstered by mystifying lyrics, and a gorgeous orchestral arrangement, it's really all you could want as far as an introduction/mission statement goes. But while Testard draws obvious inspiration from Uematsu's iconic melody compositions, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention a likelier inspiration from an arrangement and orchestration standpoint. Yoko Shimomura's best-in-class main menu themes from Kingdom Hearts, Xenoblade, and Final Fantasy XV all marry a solo piano with slowly building and crescendoing strings, just like Alicia. As a piece of music, is Alicia as strong a main menu theme as Shimomura's bests? That would be a no from me, personally, but the fact that it's even a question is a testament to the strength of this track. There's maybe some recency bias, but I can see it sitting in the pantheon of great main menu themes. From the opening 10 hours or so of the game, personally the soundtrack hasn't fully won me over yet. I'm still chewing on it, and I'm aware there's a lot more of it ahead of me, so I'd prefer not talk broadly about the whole score. However that all pans out, I can at least say that this track, Alicia, is a resounding success. Okay, that's it for today. Let me know what you think of this video and if you'd be interested in seeing more videos about Expedition 33. I realize for a video ostensibly about one track, I sure do talk about, like a dozen other JRPG soundtracks, but I feel like that's keeping with the theme of Expedition 33, which feels like a love letter to, the last 30 years of JRPG scores and ideas. I'm really impressed so far. Please also check out my ongoing series analyzing every track in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, or my recent deep dive on the soundtrack to Bloodborne, or my analysis of Shoji Megudo's long and illustrious career. Also, check my Patreon while you're at it. The folks funding me over there have the most influence on the types of videos I make, so if you feel very strongly about this stuff, hop on over. We'd love to have you aboard. Okay, that's it for today. Part 18 of Rebirth should be out in a week or so, maybe 2. We'll see. I'll get it out as fast as I can. Until then, take care.